Hi friends, this is Sajida Nazneen, Assistant Professor in Computer Science Department. Today you are going to see about the important topics which are important for the second PUC examination. I guess most of them are worried about what to be written, what are the important topics that needs to be covered and what to be studied for the examination purpose. And today all of that headache we are going to see. Okay, so coming down to the topics which are going to be covered in this presentation, and the most important topic which carries a huge weightage in your examination or in your syllabus is first one is Boolean algebra, which covers 10 marks. Next is data structures, which covers 14 marks, and next is OOPS concept, which covers 7 marks. Third is constructors and destructors, which covers 8 marks. Function overloading, which covers 6 marks. Inheritance, which covers 6 marks. Database concept, which covers 15 marks. Networking concept, which covers 9 marks. So why have I chosen all these topics is because it holds most of the weightage. So you can cover almost 65 to 70 marks if you are studying only these topics. And most 5 marks question which we are concentrating more on. Okay, you can cover at most all of the topics or all 5 marks you can attain. You can score out in all those 5 marks questions with by studying these topics. So let us see, the first topic is Boolean algebra. So what to be studied in Boolean algebra, since your textbook is given a lot of topics. So what you have to concentrate. See, the first and foremost importance is K-map. So K-map, if they are giving a question of K-map, problem solving is very much easy, and with this you can gain 5 marks, and this is a compulsory question which has occurred in all of the question papers. Next, when we move on to the lesser marks, that is proving any of the postulate. So there are 14 postulates which are being given in Boolean algebra. So all those postulates, if you study with respect to truth table, what you have to write with respect to truth table, you have to prove some postulates, and only that truth table which carries you, which will fetch you the 3 marks. Next is realizing of gates using universal gates. So it actually does, it's a part of Boolean algebra, but it doesn't comes. So it is a less expected question. But to be on the safer side, if you read this particular question, which is realizing the gates, different gates using universal gates, which are these two universal gates, that is NAND gate and NOR gate. By using these two NAND gate and NOR gate, you can realize the already existing gate, that are AND gate, OR gate, and NOT gate. So there is a simple logic diagram for this. You can see in your textbook, you can refer in the textbook, and if you learn these many things, you'll be easily able to score 10 out of 10. I'm not saying about the 1 mark question, but I'm majorly concentrating only on 5 marks and 3 marks, so that you will be scoring at least 50 marks is been able to be scored. Okay, so next and foremost important topic is data structure. So what to be studied, most of them are having a doubt that what to be studied in data structure, because when you see the data structure, it's a very vast topic and you are most confused in what to be studied, how to be studied, and when you see the algorithm, everybody is going to freak out. So most of them will skip this particular topic, but my suggestion is to study this particular topic, and at most only 5 topics are most important in that. So what to be studied, as you have already studied the different algorithms for your practical exam. So you can, you, if they are asking for 5 marks, they will be asking mostly algorithm, or either to insert the element in the array or to delete an element in the array. So if you study these two algorithms, so you might be scoring 5 marks, because at least one question from this particular unit is going to come, that is for sure. Next is algorithm on stack, insertion, push, pop operation on stack. That is very easy. Only 3 lines of codes are being written. So 3 steps which will fetch you 5 marks. Or if they are very much, if the question paper is very question paper setter is very much tough, so he can be asking the algorithm on queue or algorithm on linked list. So it is also a 5 marks, 5 steps algorithm. You can study that and easily you can gain 5 marks. So at in the worst case, or the other question what can be asked is operations performed on queue. What are the different operations which are performed on queue, or what are the different operation performed on stack? So insert operation, delete operation, front end. In queue you can delete and insert from both the ends, right? So they can ask this, or else what are the different types of queues? Okay, so these are the questions which are being asked from data structures. These are the important topics. So next is the OOPS concept. So in the OOPS concept, you can see that it is majorly theory. Those people who likes to study the theory and be on the safer side, at least write something and get the marks, so they can study this particular concept will be which will fetch you 7 marks at least. So it'll the first important topics are what are the characteristics of OOPS. Like it is having inheritance, message passing, like the other characters of OOPS. So all the characteristics. So basically, there are 4 major pillars of OOPS. So all those you can study. So next is the advantages of OOPS. So what is the advantages of OOPS concept as respect to C language? Why C++ is implementing OOPS concept, and what are the advantages of OOPS with respect to C? So these can be asked for 5 marks. So what are the disadvantages of OOPS also they can ask, and disadvantages is not that much important, but you can study to be in the safer side if they ask for pros and cons of OOPS. So next is what are the applications of OOPS? So there are different types of application. There are different applications of OOPS. So you can refer the textbook and see that what are the applications of OOPS. So coming to the next, which is a very easy topic and very easily scoreable topic, and which is a very small topic in your textbook. So that is function overloading. What do you mean by function overloading? This is one of the pillar of OOPS, or one of the characteristic of OOPS, which you can this if you study this you can write polymorphism in the characteristics of OOPS. So okay, coming to the first important topic in function overloading, what first and foremost is what is the need to function overload? What is, why are we implementing this, or we can call it in another manner, the other name of function overloading is polymorphism. So what is the need of function overloading? Why we require function overloading? Okay, the major purpose is for reusability of code. So that they have given some set of points, so you can study that what are the needs for function overloading. So next is discuss overloaded function with syntax. So remember one thing, when you are writing any programming topic, or if they are asking explain function overloading, if they are asking theory is not sufficient for the answer in order to score marks. So whenever a particular topic, technical topic, or what I call as, if they're asking any particular topic, so first and foremost thing what you have to do is write some introduction about the topic. Next, write the syntax, explain the things what you have written in the syntax, like function overloading. What is syntax for function overloading? First, you need a data type. Okay. Next is the function name. Function name will be same. Next, parameters will be differing in function only the difference is either the return type is changing, or the number of parameters will be changing, or the type of parameter which are being passed will be changing. So you have to write the syntax, explain what is being written in the syntax, and next write one small example. It need not be the actual code, just write in brief a function name, put a dash dash dash, whatever it is been overloaded, put a dash dash dash, how it is been overloaded, the same function name, a function which is having same name but different number of arguments. So you can show that and write. If you are writing this example, you will be fetching 5 marks. So that is for sure. And next is explain inline function with a syntax and an example. There was a sixth question in your practical uh, topics. Okay, that was simple interest. What is inline function? Explain the definition of inline function. Next, write the syntax, how an inline function is being defined. So explain that, and what is the purpose of inline function. So major purpose is inline function is nothing but a smaller function which is having a very less amount of code, and that can be called easily in the called function. Okay, when the compiler is compiling that particular code, and it will be expanded at that time. We need not write the entire code again and again when the function is being called. So only the mentioning of that particular function will do the job. So that is the major thing in the inline function. And next is explain friend function with syntax and example. Yeah, this particular topic is also important. What is friend function? So when they have asked this particular thing, you have to write what is friend function. So, and with respect to that, syntax and one example. So what is friend function? I guess everybody knows what is friend function. And next is the advantages and disadvantages of inline function. So what are the advantages of inline function? Advantage is, instead of writing the entire code, we can write in a smaller format. Okay, just by writing the function name, we can call that function, and automatically that code will be rewritten in your called function. So that is one of the major advantage. What is the disadvantage? You can't write the code, the same function as an inline function for the code which is having a very large number of lines, or very large number of logic. So that is one of the major drawback of your inline function. So like this, they have given some 3 to 4 points. You can write advantages and disadvantages of your inline function. Next, coming to the next topic, which is explain the characteristics of friend function. So what are the characteristics? So in order to become a friend of a particular class, what should the function consists of? So those explanation you have to write. Okay, coming to the next, another one of the smallest topic in your textbook is constructor and destructor, which will also be fetching you 5 marks plus 3 marks. So the first topic is explain default constructor with syntax and example. So this particular topic you can study easily, and you can score at most 8 marks. So you can see here it is asking explain default constructor. What is default constructor? So constructor which is being a constructor which is already been defined in the class, or if you are not defining in the class also, it is by default the compiler itself define this particular constructor. So how it is been there, how it has been written, write the syntax and write a main function, so that when you create an object, this constructor is automatically called. So next is explain parameterized constructor with the syntax and example. So apart from default constructor, which will not be having any parameters, so the next type of constructor is parameterized constructor. So when you're calling this particular parameterized constructor, how you're calling, what is the syntax, and when you're invoking this particular parameterized constructor, what is been how it is been invoked, and what are the parameters that is being passed, and how the object is being created. So all those things you need to explain in this particular question. Next is explain the rules and features of a copy constructor. So you have to write what is a copy constructor, and what are the set of rules that needs to be followed while copying one constructor to another constructor. There are set of 2 to 3 set of rules being given, so you can write that. Next is destructor with the syntax. Explain what is destructor and with respect to syntax. So this is at most easiest question in the entire textbook. So what is destructor? A destructor is been created to destruct the constructor, and it is been written with a negation sign or a tilted sign. So this particular thing you have to write, and you have to write the syntax, which is very much easy, and explain with one example. So first thing, for what you have to do, write the definition of destructor. Next, write the syntax of the destructor. Next, write one small code snippet where you are showing constructor as well as destructor. Okay, how the destructor has been invoked. So next is the what are the rules for a constructor function. So, and illustrate how the constructor is used with an equals to sign. So I guess this is an important topic, but not that much important compared to the other thing. So if you are using an equals to sign with a constructor to compare two constructors, if you are using a parameterized constructor, two parameterized constructor, to we can, instead of going to the function and checking, instead of doing that, we can do it with an equals to sign itself. So what is the usage of equals to sign with respect to constructor, how you are comparing two constructor, or how you are copying one constructor to another constructor by the use of equal to sign. So this you can write. So next is the topic of inheritance. Inheritance is also majorly theory based questions. So if they're asking, at most if they can ask one small program. So first thing what they'll be asking is, what are the visibility modes and its role. So as you know that how many visibility modes are there, there are three basically visibility modes. One is public, private, and protected. So in public, anybody, any class or any other function can access the member function which are being comes under public sector of your class. So anybody can access that. When it comes to private, only the class members can access the private members of the class. So coming to protected, protected means any function which is been inherited, it can use those protected member in the other class. So these are the three visibility modes. You have to show that, you have to write a small function to example for illustrating this visibility modes, and how the public mode and private mode and protected mode can be accessed. Okay, next, coming to how does inheritance influence working of constructors and destructors. So, what is the purpose of inheritance? How the constructor are being invoked, or how the destructor has been invoked with respect to inheritance? Suppose you are having one base class and one derived class, and both are having its own constructors. Now, if I want to call a constructor of a base class in the derived class, then what is the steps that are need to be performed? Okay, and if I am creating an object of the derived class, then what is going to happen? Okay, which particular constructor is being invoked first, which is coming to the next. So those things you have to write, cover in this particular question. Next is explain single level inheritance with respect to suitable program. So the utmost one particular program which they can ask is single level inheritance. So they'll not be asking any other types of inheritance. You will be mostly getting single level inheritance, and this is a very easy program. So you have to write one, create one class which is been acting as a base class, and you have to create another class which will be acting as a derived class. You have to derive that characteristics of base class within the derived class. So you have to write some addition function or some other function which is including very small code snippet. So you can illustrate this single inheritance. Okay, next is explain the different types of inheritance. What are the different types of inheritance? There are majorly single inheritance. So that is single level inheritance. So multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hybrid inheritance, or hierarchical inheritance. So there are totally five types of inheritance. With respect to a small diagram of each level of inheritance, you have to write. And if you write this and explain one, two, or three lines, you'll be getting 5 marks for sure. So next are the database concept. So explain data processing cycle and explain the features or advantages of database system. So you can see here. So what is the database concept which holds majority of the marks, that is 14 marks will be coming from this particular concept. And my suggestion is to read about the advantages and disadvantages of your database system and the architecture of your database system. Okay, or they can ask explain database model, which is tier 2 tier model or 3 tier model. Okay, uh, otherwise they'll be asking what are the application of database. These are the things which have been asked in with respect to database concept. Or they can ask some of the SQL commands. So with respect to this SQL commands, and it is also a small topic, you will be knowing it better since you have faced your practicals prior. So you'll be knowing what is update command, what is create command, what is delete command. So you just need to study the syntax, how the update command is going to work. So first, right, when they are asking about majorly the repeated most repeated questions is explain, create, select, delete, alter and update command for 5 marks. So for each query what you write for each command, so you have to write one query, explain it in 1 or 2 lines, and that will fetch you the 5 marks. So, or the other thing what they are going to ask is explain SQL constraint with an example. What are the different constraints in SQL which you'll be facing? So those constraints, some 5 points are there. So you can study that with an example. You have to write it down. So next is what are the difference, write the difference between order by and group by with an example. So what is the difference between order by and group by? So in order by, what you are doing, you are ordering in a what particular manner. In group by, you are grouping the elements of your database based on the condition. And order by is following the same thing, but little bit of changes. That what is happening in order by is it is ordering either in ascending order or descending order with respect to the condition what is been given. So that it is that is one of the major difference between order by and group by, and that you have to write it with an example. Suppose you have taken one of the database which in which the employee is having a particular salary. So I'll be writing order by the salary of greater order. The person who is having the highest salary will be coming first, and the person like that the order follows. So next will be group by command. If I want to explain the same with the same database of employee, so group the employees in such a group that which will be having a salary of 1 lakh rupees or more than, greater than or equals to 1 lakh. So it will be grouping those particular person in one particular group. So that is one of the example of explaining the difference between order by and group by with an example. So next, you know that explain the commands select, create, alter, delete. So just you have to write the syntax of that, explain in 1 or 2 lines. It's better if you write with an example. So if example is all not been given, if the syntax is also given, then is also okay. So next is explain with an example to create an employee data details with given minimum. So minimum details, so it is asking you to explain what are create one employee database. So you are already having this particular question in your practical, so same thing you can write it here. So coming to the next concept, that is networking concept. So in this networking concept, most of the people will be getting confused with respect to this particular topic. So if you're having time, my suggestion for the passing package not to study this topic. If you want to score out of out, okay, and if you're having time to study about this particular thing, so you can go to this particular topic. And it is also a theory one. The person who are very good in mugging up, or the person who are very good in remembering, who likes to prepare for theory, so they can choose this particular topic which will be covering explain the various networking devices. So what are the networking various networking devices? such as router, gateway. So such devices, they are asking about only those devices. So you have to list some 4 or 5 devices and explain about how it will be working. So one particular device, write 2 or 3 lines for of explanation of this particular device. So next is explain the working of OSI and TCP IP model. So what is OSI model and what is TCP IP? So OSI contains of 7 layers and TCP IP contains of 4 or 5 layers. So some textbook in your textbook it is been given as 5 layers. So you have to explain why, what is the difference between this OSI and TCP IP model. Okay, so next is what are the different types of topologies: ring topology, mesh topology, star topology. So this is a very easiest question. You can just refer the diagrams and explain it in your own words with respect to the diagram. So if you study this particular topic there, so there are 4 types of topologies, so you can refer all these diagrams. So that particular topologies: star topology, ring topology, mesh topology, all this topology you can write it. See the diagram first, write the diagram, explain in 2 or 3 lines for each of the topology. In detail you can explain, or 2 or 3 lines is more than sufficient. Okay, next is what is gateway and explain in detail. So it is asking you to explain. So this is majorly 3 marks. What is gateway and how it will be working. So you can study this for 3 marks. So next is what is virus, give the measures to prevent it. So you will be coming, as you have seen already in the model question paper, they have asked this question, and in your preparatory also they have asked this: what is virus, give the measures to prevent it, how to prevent the virus. So how you will be getting virus and what are the steps to be taken: install antivirus, make a firewall so that virus doesn't affect your system, scan it on a regular basis, put all the unnecessary data into one particular thing, or don't download anything from any unwanted website. So all these are the measures which are being taken to prevent it. So explain network security in detail. So how can you provide security for your network? So securing with fast password, maintaining a firewall. So these are like this. There are 6 steps which are been given in detail in your textbook to study about network security. Next is explain transmission medium in detail. So what is the different transmission medium? Connection oriented, connection less. Okay, in connection oriented, what are the transmission medium, and connection less transmission, what is the different transmission medium? You should explain in detail. So that's it. So all the best for your exam, and don't take that much tension. So this is what you have to study if you concentrate on this particular topic. So you can see in the topics which we have covered. So at most 65 to 70 marks you can score, and those person who are concentrating on just for passing sake, you can study Boolean algebra, you can study OOPS concept, constructor, destructors, function overloading, inheritance. Okay, these particular topics will fetch you passing package. Okay, and most probable questions from these particular topics, even 1 mark also you'll be scoring. So my idea of studying for you guys, my suggestion for you guys is, however you'll be scoring in your 1 mark question. So if you study these particular topics keeping in mind that you're studying for 5 marks, so in that 5 marks some questions might come for 3 marks also, so that is also covered. Some question might come for 2 marks also, that is also covered. So majorly concentrate on studying your 5 marks question so that it will cover entire 3 marks and 2 marks also. Thank you guys.